Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. It's Wimbledon time. It's time to go through the draw a bit quickly, look at possible outcomes. This is the time you should comment your thoughts. These predictions sometimes go well, sometimes they don't. I think the French Open didn't go so well for me predictions-wise, but I hope for better luck in this Wimbledon. It's just for good fun, and it's of course very, very difficult to predict anything. First of all, I want to thank one of our writers, Simon Seitler, a true tennis nerd. He writes really well about tennis, knows a lot, and he's written about this draw. There's also some other great writers on tennisnerd.net, and we've also published the top tennis gear right now, which might become a video very soon. The members already have it, the YouTube members and the patrons. So if you want to support Tennis Nerd, you know where to go, Patreon or YouTube, where I also talk about rackets I test that you have not heard of, like this Nordic Dots prototype racket that I am gonna string up. And we're going to hit a bit more tomorrow. I've been hitting with it quite a bit. The draws then. Is this your favorite slam or not? Put that in the comments. I'm keen to hear. Obviously, the grass court season has more upsets, I would say, than the other parts of the tennis calendar. We saw Paul Jubb the other day beat Ben Shelton in Mallorca, 200 something ranked. Paul is a very good player, as I saw in that match. I was watching that match. But obviously you didn't predict him to beat Shelton with his monster serve and big game. But still, on grass, it seems like more things can happen, more upsets, especially over 3 sets. But when we go to the Grand Slams, we have 5 sets. That makes it more likely that the best player wins over and over again. Still, we have some grass court specialists and players that are not happy to be on grass. And that always makes this exciting. And they have to transition so fast. Andy Roddick mentioned it in his Served podcast that he wants the grass court season to be longer, and I agree. I think there should be a grass court Masters at least, whether that's Queens or Hull or something else. That's not that important. It needs to be a bit longer season because it feels like it just jumps on the grass, and in no time we're at Wimbledon. So I think it deserves a little bit more love, although it's a tricky surface. Maybe they should force them to play with wooden rackets. That would make Wimbledon even more exciting. P.S. If you want merch like this one, there's a lot of other stuff, bottles and cups and whatever, in the Tennis Nerd merch shop, and so check that out on Tennis Nerd, shipping both to the US and Europe. And if you wear Tennis Nerd stuff, because I see this as a community, I would love to get your pictures, maybe via Instagram or whatever, or you just tag Tennis Nerd on your social media accounts and we'll happily re-share. We're a family of tennis nerds and it's nice to see the love. Now let's dive into the predictions and the draw breakdown. First of all, we have to say that this year they have changed their seeding logic previously from their own grass court logic they used to have based on grass court results previously to this more standard way of doing it with the rankings and the normal seedings. So the top seeds this year will be according to the tour standings at the cutoff date. If we start with the men's tournament, we have the seeds Sinner, Djokovic, Alcaraz, Zverev, Medvedev, Rublev, Hurkacz, Ruud, Deminar and Dimitrov. Those are the top 10 seeds. There are question marks around Djokovic, of course, and he's coming back from having small surgery on his knee, but he looks to be in good form, good shape. He looks ready to go. And he said that he wouldn't go there if he didn't feel he had the chance to win the tournament. So I'm sure that he's gonna play and be a dangerous contender for the title, as he usually is. Some very dangerous players slightly outside the top 10 seeds. That's Tommy Paul, who won Queens. He's seeded 12. Sebastian Korda likes the grass, seeded 20. We have Musetti, who's been playing well, semis in Queens, and I think also semis in the Boss Open, and Jack Draper, who won the Boss Open. So these are some very dangerous players. You don't want these players in the early rounds. They're really ready for the grass. If we go to the women's side, the seeds there are Swiatek, Goff, Sabalenka, Rybakina, Pegula, Vondrousova, Paulini, Cheng, Sakkari, and Jabeur. Outside that, we have Ostapenko, of course, seeded 13, Kasatkina, Kalinskaya now, who reached the final, and Katie Bolter, who's been doing really well, plays well on grass. So those are the seeds. Let's start this time with the women's field. The top half of the women's draw looks pretty stacked. Iga Swiatek, world number 1, bagels and breadsticks all around on clay, but on grass, it's a different thing. Of course, we have players like Ostapenko, Collins, Vondrousova, Rybakina in this part of the draw, makes it very difficult. And on grass, you have an element of surprise, of course. The lower half is a little bit different. Sabalenka pulled out of Berlin with a shoulder issue. Paulini not so good on grass. I think Coco Gauff has a really strong chance to go through this part of the draw. There are a few dangerous players for Swiatek, for example. You have Angelique Kerber, who has won Wimbledon, if I'm not mistaken. Caroline Wozniacki. These are tricky pairings. Bottom half has Paula Badosa, Pliskova, Osaka, Andreescu. Looks like the seeds are stronger in the top half, but the bottom half has a lot of kind of more unseeded dark horses in total. So the projected way, if you look at the way to get to the top of this draw, is Swiatek going through Kenin, Martic, either Kerber or Siniakova, possibly Ostapenko, Danielle Collins, who's having the last and best year of her career, possibly previous winner Vondrousova, Rybakina, Gauff or Sabalenka. So she has to play some great grass court tennis. I would say there's a high likelihood of Swiatek going out in this tournament and not winning, because her game on grass is not as natural with her heavy topspin. Gauff's way is Dolhide, Cocciaretto, Cirstea, Azarenka, Navarro, Madison Keys, Sabalenka, or Rybakina and Swiatek. Not the easiest either, but looks better for Gauff than for Swiatek in this case. If we look at Sabalenka's possible path, it's Bektas, Vekic, Yastremska, Kasatkina, Zheng, Gauff, and Rybakina or Swiatek. So also a little bit more straightforward. Definitely not easy. Zheng and Kasatkina, very dangerous players here. And Rybakina has Rus, Sigmund, Fernandez, Wozniacki, Kalinskaya, Pegula Jabeur, Swiatek, and Gauff or Sabalenka. So who is your pick then to win this tournament? I'm keen to hear in the comments. I am not seeing Swiatek win this year. I think it's going to be tough. I don't think it's so easy for her to adapt her game. Love watching her play, but with that really fast and low bounce on the grass, it doesn't really sit up so well for her kind of heavily focused clay court game that works also on slower hard courts, of course, but it's not as natural on faster surfaces. That brings either Gauff or Sabalenka for me. Could obviously be a surprise winner this year. I'm gonna say Gauff winning. It's a little bit of an out there pick maybe. Sabalenka seems maybe more logical, but with her shoulder issue previously, I think Gauff can do it and has the mental strength here to play well on grass. So that's gonna be my prediction. Coco Gauff winning her second Grand Slam in that case in this Wimbledon 2024. All right, time for the men's draw. Sinner and Alcaraz are in one half of the draw, so this might be another rivalry match in the semifinals. Some seeded player here are question marks like Medvedev and Ruud, who thinks that grass court tennis can be likened to playing golf. But there are also very dangerous players like Tommy Paul and Dimitrov, who have had a good season, both of them this year. Bottom half, we have Djokovic and Zverev. I don't think Zverev is as good on grass, so I don't hold him as much of a strong contender to the title as I did in the French Open. And they also have the best server possibly on tour, Hubert Hurkacz, who is so dangerous on grass. But then you have guys like Draper and Musetti, who are playing really well on this surface and can beat anyone, I would argue. We also need to raise a finger of warning for players like Matteo Berrettini, maybe Denis Shapovalov, but I think Berrettini is great on grass. I would also say Jan-Lennard Struff is one of those players you have to watch out for, the way he's been playing and the way he likes to play on the grass. The bottom half has some dangerous wildcard players like Billy Harris, Arthur Fils. Don't know how Fils plays on grass. Billy Harris is playing his season of his life and loves the grass. So this guy is not someone you want in the early draw. We don't know if Andy Murray is going to play yet. He's trying to get ready. He's working hard. I'm sure he wants to play what could possibly be his last Wimbledon. So the projected way, the way Sinner has to go through the draw would be winning against Hanfmann. That's still a tough one, but should be doable. Berrettini, that's a big challenge early on. Griekspoor, fighter, also tough. Shelton with his huge serve. Medvedev, question mark, I would say. I probably would pick Dimitrov over that. Alcaraz or Paul, Hurkacz or Djokovic. So not an easy draw with Berrettini this early on. Griekspoor and Shelton are not easy opponents either. In Djokovic's case, you have Kopriva, who is a dangerous player. And if Novak is not 100% confident in his knee holding up, I think that could be a dangerous first round match. We have Fernley, who I'm not really familiar with. Echeverry, who I think has too much respect for Novak, especially on grass. Rooney would be a tough opponent. Hurkacz is a very dangerous opponent on this surface. Zverev, possibly Tsitsipas, Sinner, Alcaraz. Alcaraz journey, many people's favorite here because of his win last year. Layal, Vukic, Tiafoe, Humbert, Paul, Sinner, Hurkacz or Djokovic. Can Alcaraz win again? I have more of a feeling around Sinner this year than Alcaraz, but time will tell. He's good at figuring it out. Then we have Zverev, Carballes, Baena, Giron, Draper, Fritz, Tsitsipas, Korda, Hurkacz, Djokovic or Sinner, Alcaraz. Not an easy one, but I would say Carballes, Baena, Giron are matches he should win. Then you get to Draper, Fritz. Those are very dangerous matches. So who wins on the men's side? I would pick Jannik Sinner. He won Halle. He's playing fantastic tennis. He's the world number one, and he seems to be very confident and comfortable being the world number one. You know, you can never count on Djokovic, but you know, when he's gonna run around, possibly slip on the grass with that knee, I doubt that he can win 7-5 set matches. It seems unlikely to me. Alcaraz can still win, of course. He's the second favorite for me after Sinner, but I believe Sinner will take this one. So those are my predictions. I'm keen to hear yours. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.